Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. We are back at the second show of the week. The Dell match play has already begun. We are recording sort of in the middle of the day, so we're not going to have a ton of takes and reactions from what happens in the matches. Our schedules are crazy right now. We're trying to get all over the country. The Barstool Classic's about to start, but golf has begun this week, which is very cool. It comes up real fast all of a sudden when it happens on a Wednesday, but we got some stuff to talk about. Rory McIlroy was already in the backyard in a pool. He's hitting it all over the planet right after the day after they announced he's got a new swing coach. So there's a lot to get to on that front. We have a good show. We got Hardy, country star, singer, songwriter. He was part of the Country Stars team that was, unfortunately for them, defeated by the Fore Man Scramble in Nashville last summer. He had an ace very recently. He loves golf. He's got some serious jams. One of his songs has 90 million streams just on Spotify alone. And he's a really, really good dude. He's obsessed with golf. So we got Hardy, again, country star, country singer, songwriter. He's written songs for a bunch of big time musicians. So we got him coming up in a little bit. Gentlemen, we're without Lurch right now. He's slinging drones, trying to pay the bills. So Godspeed to Lurch. But we got Trent and Frankie and myself. We got E-Bugs more on the 1 and 2s today. Jake's editing some videos. And we have Jake Bass is behind the scenes, like I said, editing videos, doing his thing. But gentlemen, you guys are in studio. I'm still in Scottsdale. I hope our audio is not too crazy, but we did a new technological advancement attempt here, so hopefully it works out better.
Well, we've been sitting in this room bullshitting for 25 minutes before we started recording, and then as soon as we started record, the vents started going crazy. I don't know if you can hear it, Riggs, but it's once again, it sounds like there's a person inside the vent trying to get out that is equipped with a baseball bat. So hopefully people can't hear that, but it started as soon as we started recording, which is really just, that is the Barstool difference. But hopefully, if we did the clap correctly at the beginning of this episode, the audio is much better than it has been in the past. And if it didn't work, then you guys are hearing the same thing you've been hearing for the last 18 months.
Credit to us to wait until basically the end of the pandemic to figure out that we should have better audio on our podcast. I mean, we could have been recording locally the entire time. There was nothing stopping us from hitting record on our laptops, and everything that we say goes right into the laptop, not through the internet, and it gets broken up. Sounds like you're talking through, some sort of fax machine in office space. So, PC load letter.
I will say that there was one time where I think Jake Bass really tried to push us because he heard about this new technique where we record locally, and the big deterrent from us doing it was that we couldn't sync up a clap to get the audio right, and we just abandoned it and have never done it ever since. That was like a year ago. I can't hear the vents and the little
I don't know that anyone can,
the vents,
to be honest. I got to tweet that like every time we talk about the noises, they can't hear shit.
It's so loud in this room when it happens, though.
That's good. This thing only picks up right when I talk into your ear.
I've been in there. It feels like when you're in somebody's unfinished basement and the furnace is going crazy. It's the same type of feeling where it just dominates everything. But yeah, I can't hear it. So luckily, I think you guys are good. Owen's Mixers, big thanks to Owens. As always, the Transfusion is our favorite. It is golf season. I know places are starting to open up. I know Frankie played out on Long Island at Deepdale this past weekend. Weather's starting to get a little nicer. Courses are opening.
Somebody told me I was going to get sued for talking about them. I think it was a joke, but that's how, like, they're like, holy smokes, you dropped that word, the D word. I was like, I mean, that's crazy town. You guys have played Cyprus. I mean, we're talking deep.
I will say you seem legitimately nervous as you look at me right now.
I am. They said, like, you dropped the D word on the podcast last week. That's preposterous.
I think you're all right.
I will say my ears kind of perked up when you said it. I was like, I don't know if he's supposed to be saying
I don't know that. No, especially like, I don't know. I'm definitely drawing more attention to it right now, so I'll just stop.
Yeah.
I will say that it not reminded me, but there was a golf, Instagram influencer, Katie Carney. I don't know if you guys follow her, but she's big. She's everywhere. She's got a ton of followers, and she put up a bunch of photos and videos on her Instagram from playing Augusta like several months ago. It might have been midwinter or something like that. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know you could really post footage. And then like 12 hours later, it was all gone. It was just wiped off the internet. So if we have to go wipe that podcast, Frankie, just let us know that you dropped the D word. But I hope you're feeling a little better about it. Anyways, Owens is great. They just have revolutionized the mixer game, the cocktail game, because they make delicious flavors that you just pour in with your favorite liquor. and boom, you've got an awesome cocktail. Again, the Transfusion's our favorite on the golf course. You can probably find it from a lot of beverage carts now. You can find it at a lot of 19th holes. We're getting it into as many courses, as many clubs as we possibly can. But you can also just order. You go to Amazon, order that shit, boom, it just arrives, and you can whip up your cocktails. Transfusion Thursday, when you listen to this, watching the match play, watching our guy Kiz try to take down a pretty powerful group, have yourself a Transfusion, enjoy yourself. OwensMixers.com, they got a store locator, so you can figure out where you can just pop into a store and get it. But a big thanks to Owens. They're huge supporters of us. They will continue to be, and we love Owens. I drink that shit all the time, and it's really, really good. Okay. Let's start with umbrellas really quickly. This is a conversation we were having before the show. You know, I'm just curious what the folks think out there. I know a lot of these debates get people going. Open an umbrella indoors is extremely unlucky, right? That's just considered extremely unlucky.
Correct. Yeah.
So, you know, our merch game, you go to store.barstoolsports.com. Our merch game is big. We like to provide stuff that people can rock, that they can support us, they can wear on the golf courses, wherever. Well, we're trying to get in the umbrella game. So our merch team sent me a pack of 5 umbrellas, came to our Vegas hotel. This like a week or two ago, whenever we were there. And I opened this thing up and I'm like, hey, you need to sample, check out those umbrellas, see which ones you like, which ones you don't, how the logo looks on the umbrella, whatever. And I said to Trent, I was like, well, what would you do? Because you have to spread and like fully open the umbrella in order to get the feel. You got to spin it around a little bit. You got to put it over you and pretend like you're walking down the fair. Like, what's going on with this umbrella? Am I supposed to go down in the elevator, 7 flights, seven stories, walk outside and open up this giant cardboard box and then just start opening up umbrellas outside? Like, is that what I had to do?
Damn.
I need to – what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I need to make a decision on how I feel about this because I just recently turned 32, and if my answer to this question is like, no, I can't open umbrellas inside because I'm afraid that it's going to be bad luck. Like, is that just the kind of person I am for the rest of my life then? It has to be. And I don't know if I want to be that person. It seems silly because you just say, like, hey, if you open an umbrella inside, that gives you bad luck. Like, that's crazy. But I also sort of believe it. I want to say that if you open an umbrella inside, you then put bad luck on yourself.
Do we know what happened? Like, did somebody open an umbrella inside and then they just got like a random spear through the heart back in the day? Like, what? On where opening umbrellas inside is bad luck? There's got to be some fables, perhaps.
So Riggs
where it led
actually
to horrific outcomes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, but the Egyptian civilization, the sun is represented as a god, and umbrellas were used by the nobility. Wow. By the nobility and the religious. Is that the word? The nobility and the religious leaders to protect themselves from the intense rays of the sun and the rain. Opening an umbrella in the shade or opening it indoors was seen as an insult to the sun god. Hence, probably, therefore, you would get bad luck by disrupting the gods and disrupting their rays upon your. You know what I mean? Like you.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, I already have a thing with the sun, so now I just pissed off the sun god.
It's insulting to the sun god.
5x I pissed off. You should have seen how many umbrellas I was opening inside. It was
I don't want to piss off the sun god. That one of all the gods, that one seems pretty fucking real.
The sun is the most powerful thing that we know, I think. I mean, the sun.
Like if you say you don't believe in God or whatever, that it is what it is, and to each their own. But it's like the sun, that's the most legitimate figure that could be God because it supplies everything that we have.
At some point, the sun is literally going to swallow up everything that we know, and it's just going to swallow everything up and eliminate all of this forever. So pissing off the sun is not.
You know what I mean, though? Like the sun, it's the reason things are alive. Like it's the one thing that if it goes away, we are in real trouble. So what do you think?
Sometimes you look like you haven't seen the sun in a long time.
So
who they said that to?
You.
Me. I got tan this summer.
Yeah, sometimes.
What do you think about what
last summer? You did. Yeah, you did. Actually.
You did last summer. Do you think about it's? You know, we've been in quarantine, so I haven't seen the sun. The sun came out. It was 60 degrees on a couple days ago, and it was like, holy shit!
I got a sunburn that day.
Yeah,
I see it on my face.
When we were in Vegas, it wasn't that hot, and I got sunburn on my hands. Do you believe the umbrella indoor outdoor thing?
I've been back and forth on like all that shit. You know,
it seems silly. It is silly, but then there's a small part of my brain that's like,
what's the word I'm looking for?
But what if?
When you're superstitious.
Yeah. You're a little stitious, as Michael Scott would say.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, there's times where I'll watch an Islander game, or you'll be watching Tiger Woods play, and you want him to do well, and you're thinking about something that you do usually, like, you know, should I go to the bathroom? I'm watching the game. Should I turn the channel? It's like sometimes I just think to myself, what the fuck am I doing? But then the bad thing happens in the game, and you do think that you're the reason why that happened.
Right. And there was a beer campaign a couple of years ago, I forget which one, where it said, it's only weird if it doesn't work.
100%.
Right.
You know, Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlav do like a thing where Corey Perry touches every single part of Getzlav's back and touches all the parts of the door as he walks out. Now, if he doesn't do that the next game and he fucking tears his ACL, he's going to be like, well, why didn't I just touch the fucking doors? That's been working my entire career.
Right. But you also could, it's like, well, they don't win every game that they do that. So it's like, what are they?
I know.
Like, how do you could say it falls on either end of it. I got one. I don't step on handicap signs, the little painted handicap signs on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't step on them. And the only reason I don't is because my brother several years, like 15 years ago, I was about to step on one and he like shoved me across the parking lot and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, what? And he's like, you can't step on a handicap sign. It's horrific luck. And now I do the same thing to everybody else. I don't know the backstory, but I don't step on a handicap sign because
I feel like I've tap danced on a handicap sign before. I've never heard of that in my life.
I think it's the original point, the ACL point that was just made of, I'm not saying that every day goes perfectly that I haven't been stepping on handicap signs, but the one time I do, I'm then going to be like I'm in Final Destination the rest of the day, and I don't want that.
Right. You know what's a weird one for me that I've been doing for potentially 20 to 25 years is I always put my left shoe on first.
That's fucking weird.
Always. And it's not because
That's not weird. I just don't know that I would ever notice it.
I always put my left shoe on first.
Left shoe? And you're a righty?
I am, yeah.
So,
and it's the same thing that Riggs just said where there maybe have been instances where I woke up and I was super tired and I had to go run down and get something or whatever, and I put on my right shoe first, but I don't remember those. But I feel like every time I notice it, I put my left shoe on. Maybe it's not a perfect day, but it's a day where a piano didn't fall on my head. I was walking down the street in New York. So it's so I always put the left shoe on first. I legitimately think, and I wish, this is the one thing, I wish I got these statistics. Like when you die, people talk about this, like they want the statistics of their life. I would love to know how long I've been putting my left shoe on first every day. It's been a lot.
So you guys remember when I dislocated my kneecap playing hockey and I was on a cane for a couple weeks in the office?
Yes.
That was the first time that I can remember that I tied and put my left skate on before I did, and not my right. And the only reason I did, I was like 10 minutes late for the game. And my left skate was the first one I could find in my hockey bag. Frankie knows now, like your hockey bag's a mess. There's all kinds of shit in there. There's tape, there's random fucking jerseys and socks. And I could only find, so I threw that on. And I remember in the moment thinking, is it crazy if I take off my left skate and be a couple minutes late because I don't feel great about it? And like an hour later in the second period, I just got tripped up into the boards and dislocated my kneecap and I was on a cane for 2 weeks. So maybe I'm pretty rattled right now that I open those fucking umbrellas and door.
I'm trying to think if I do anything. And the first thing that came to me is I probably put my right contact in before my left every time, but I don't know if that's like a superstitious thing. I think it's just it feels right. Like my right eye is more like dominant for some reason, so like putting in the left contact would feel weird.
Yeah, but it's not based on any sort of
I would
superstition.
I don't know that I would ever reach for the left contact first just because of how it feels. Like I don't like the having plastic in my left eye and not my right eye first.
I know there are times when I will wake up in the morning and I'm getting ready, I've got everything on, and the shoe's the last thing I got to put on. I'll pick up the right shoe first, and I will put the shoe down, and I will grab the left put the left shoe on.
No, that wouldn't happen to me. No. That would never happen to me.
That's the only thing I can think of for me, though.
This is maybe the most level-headed I've ever been about anything that you guys do
because
stuff and I don't.
When we were talking about the umbrella thing before the podcast started, I was thinking that you were going to come out with this long Borelli's history of a guy who opened an umbrella indoors.
I've matured. I've grown up, Trent.
Yeah, right.
All right? I used to do the fucking craziest things at these Islander games. I used to get a popcorn in between the first and second period, and I used to get a Carvel with extra sundae sauce on chocolate sauce in between the second and third. And like the popcorn lady knew me by name. She had the popcorn ready. I went to the same one, section 221, in between, the whole thing, in between gates 14 and 15. And I did that every fucking game. Now you wonder why I have a salt addiction. I mean, I was fucking 12 and 13 years old. I was eating popcorn every single night.
You're also a kid that was like, "Oh, Daddy, let me get popcorn."
No, it wasn't that cute. It was like I was screaming and crying if I wasn't able to access the popcorn. I wasn't crying, but like I was notably and visibly angry. And then if the Islanders give up a goal, I'd just stare at like whoever was at the game and be like, "Can you believe you didn't let me go get the popcorn? Like, this is why we're losing for the last 15 years."
Right, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier where
I've grown up.
Right, I just turned 32. Am I still going to continue to believe that these little things have real effects on my life?
You've done it for so long, Trent, that I think you have to keep doing it.
The left shoe thing is not going away.
Yeah.
The left shoe thing is going nowhere. But, like, walking under a ladder, opening an umbrella indoors, breaking a mirror, like, are those things that I'm going to continue to believe until I'm dead? I don't know.
It's like being at a fucking roulette table and you pick the same numbers your whole life. Like 13, 24, 33, 29, 16. You know, you have your numbers.
Yeah.
And then you fucking just one day, one spin of the ball, you pick a different number and then you know for a fact that your number's coming out that you've picked your entire life. Same with like Lotto, Keno, the whole thing. My dad used to say, so back in the day, the lotto machines in New York, they used to have like a last game. So like now they run 24/7, but they used to have a final game, and we have a machine in our restaurant. We have screens all over the place in the bar. It's like the best. I love playing Quick Draw, and you know what Quick Draw is, right?
No.
So it's basically roulette. You have a card and you fill it out with a pencil at your table while you're eating a pizza, and you bring it in, and it's like $10, and if you hit 4 out of the 4 numbers, you win $150, whatever it is.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I think it's more commonly known as Keno.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so like there would be these last draw games, and you'd have to pick the same numbers every single night, right? So like, because think about the horror, right? You're closing up the restaurant. My dad puts whatever it is, $50 every night or whatever, or once a week on 16, and he's just like, or whatever the numbers are. And the one night he doesn't do it, all 4 or 5 numbers come out. It's a $10,000 winner.
Yeah.
Now, if you do something like that every single night, and the one day you don't, you have to, like, I don't know, kill yourself or something. Something bad has to happen.
Right, because Jared Carabas and I were doing that with the lottery for like a year.
There you go.
Where we
immediate death.
Him and I we picked specific numbers that were like about us. Like I picked my football jersey number 40, and we put all these numbers together that meant something to us, and we would do the lottery twice a week, and we'd keep doing it. And we were just waiting for the day that the one time we forgot to do it, that it landed on our numbers, and then we would just kill each other.
You can't.
It's Colby a little bit with Tony Finau. It's like he's in a tough spot now.
Yes.
He has to bet on Tony Finau every single week, because the first week that he doesn't, Tony Finau is obviously going to win. Speaking of roulette, I tweeted about this, but I'm gonna since we're talking about it, I have to bring it back up, that when I was in Vegas, stayed for a day or two after you guys left, and I had a buddy came up to the table. I think I was betting red nonstop, and I'm betting red, and he joins the table. I got a bunch of money on red. He joins the table, matches my bet, but puts it on black.
Oof. Black
hits, and then I just lost every spin after that. And I looked at him and said, "Well, now, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are we doing here? Are you really here to beat the casino? Is that what you're gonna win money gambling? You're gonna be the only victorious gambler against Big Vegas in the history of the fucking world? Or are we here as buddies to gamble together, to win and lose together, to go nuts when that fucking little ball bounces into our red circle or whatever? Or are we here you're trying to, I actually think I calculated that it's going to come up black." No, it isn't. Like, what are we doing here? So I was livid after that. And if you believe in luck, again, like, of course I lost every spin after that. We just had horrific juju going on the table, and we were done for the rest of the day. Yeah,
it's a nightmare scenario. That's if you're down bad too in a casino, that's worthy of a fist fight. It really is, because like you're saying, there is absolutely no rhyme or reason as to why he chose black. It's just to go against you so that one of you wins and one of you loses. I almost wish green came out.
Me too. I said that. I said I wish it fucking hit green, and you felt like the biggest loser.
Just
for the rest
give me
of your
double
life.
zeros right now, because you just fucked up this whole table, and I'd pick up my chips and I'd leave. Because you can't do. You're everyone that's on that side of the table is already a loser, right? You're playing against the dealer, and he's gonna win. The odds are he's going to win. So why are we going against each other's throats on this side of the table?
Right.
They win 10 times fold.
That's why blackjack was so fun. We played just like a little bit on our last night there.
Was it fun?
Well, it was, the idea was fun because the idea of blackjack is everyone wants to beat the dealer.
I fucking got this guy out of his pajamas to come down and play some blackjack, and I was like, "Come on, Trent, we're in fucking Las Vegas. You're not gonna play one table game."
He put on the full court press of peer pressure.
I can't believe he got you out of your
right.
PJs
Like for anybody that doesn't know,
that's your favorite place in the world.
Yeah, anybody that doesn't know, on these trips when we go to these hotels, I love doing what we need to do, getting all the work done, maybe grab dinner with the guys, and then I disappear. If I didn't get peer pressure every time, I would skip dinner as well. I would just want to. I like these guys. I like them a lot, but I also love being in a hotel, being in my underwear, potentially just naked. Order a chocolate sundae room service, and I just sit there, and I can be the piece of shit that I truly am.
Tossing yourself around the room a little bit.
Right, I just bang myself off the wall. I just slap myself around. I eat some ice cream, and I go to bed.
Coating the ceilings.
It's honestly, it's my favorite part of just being able to be a piece of shit. But Frankie got me out of my hotel room. We went to play blackjack, and it was fun because, like you're saying, Riggs, it's us versus them. And when someone goes against that code at a casino, you're like, well, now what the fuck are we doing? So it didn't go that well for us that night, but we all lost together.
I only said it wasn't fun because, you to my left and to my right, you guys were winning, and I was in the middle just losing every single hand on the most preposterous losses in blackjack of all time. Lin was it was her name, yeah. Lin was going 4, 4, 2, 2, 3, and she somehow comes up to 21. I looked her dead in the eyes. I said, "Why are you doing this to me?" At any moment, you could have shown a face card, and we all win. Everyone wins, right? You don't lose anything. We all on this side win. But she just boom, boom. It was like a 7-card 21.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and you got the bad end of it for the most part.
Bad end of it. But do you guys have any of these? I think we've talked about superstitions on the golf course. But is there anything that you put your shoe on left and you can't put your shoe on right? Is there anything that you cannot do on the golf course that it would throw off your whole entire game?
No, I don't think it's superstitious as much as it's just like muscle memory and habit. But I always go ball marker in my left pocket, tees and divot fixture in my right pocket. And anytime I mix that up, whenever I reach for my ball marker on the green, I think I've lost it. Like I can't comprehend that it's somewhere else. But I also keep my phone in my front left pocket. So I want to be able to move my ball marker to my right pocket, as stupid as this all sounds, to my right pocket, because a lot of times when I whip my phone out, there's that little edge of your phone where the screen and the protector, that ball marker will get stuck in that little edge, and you'll just fling it out, and the ball marker's gone. So I would like to keep my ball marker in my right pocket, but I just can't do it. It feels like I'm a different human that's never been on a golf course before whenever I do it, so I just can't do it. But I don't think it's superstitious. I think it's just annoying.
It's right on the edge of superstitious.
That sounds superstitious.
It's not a little stitious.
Because we've gone over that. We used to ask this question to golfers that we had on the show, like, are you superstitious? And they would say no, just like Riggs did. And then they would list 10 to 15 things that clearly they're like, no, but I keep 3 tees in my left pocket, 1 tee in my right pocket. I only put my left shoe on first, and they would just list an entire thing of things that are clearly superstitious. And I understand what you're saying, like, it's good to have a system, because when you walk up to a green and you don't have a system, talking to myself right now, I'm just in my pockets. I'm just in them, rifling through, like, there's a glove, there's a tee, and the thing that I need is never going to appear in my hand. So having a system that you have, Riggs, is good, but it also it borders on superstition.
It's like It's like a guy watching like a game, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not superstitious. My kids love it in the bathroom when I lock the door during the third period. They love it in there. They play."
My wife loves when I turn the couch cushions over.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, no, that's not superstitious. It's just something I like to do.
My girlfriend's dad he's a crazy New York sports fan. Rangers, Giants, Yankees, basically everything against me except for the Yankees. But there were stories about him like they know how crazy he would get like during games back in the day, when he would like really, really get mad at games, and they would literally So they would listen to the game on their way home from like work or like school or something on the radio. And if it was a close game, they would pull into the driveway and just not go in because of the moment that they opened the door. Had like the Islanders scored on the Rangers, it's their fault 100%. Now nothing like bad happens.
Yeah.
It's just you don't want that shitty feeling of like, all right, well, Dad like clearly thinks that we've now lost the game for the hockey team because he is crazy superstitious like that.
It really just shows how crazy humans are. Like, we just crave control so much that we think that any small thing that we do is going to have an effect on what happens at a stadium that is potentially hundreds to thousands of miles away. Like, I've had that on airplanes where I think things that I do will make the airplane not go down. Like, if I don't move in a certain way, or if I don't open my laptop, or if I don't turn my phone off airplane mode, then this plane is going to go and it's going to land and we're going to be fine. And if I do anything opposite, then the plane is going to crash. It's all about control, and we just want control of every situation.
I find it weird that you guys put stuff in your glove hand pocket.
I don't love doing it, but my new thing is I've occasionally dabbled with putting my phone back there because of the situation where it conflicts with the ball marker, like I talked about earlier, a very serious issue. But it's weird, man. It's weird kind of having both those things in the same spot. It just doesn't feel good. One thing about airplanes, I'll say, it's kind of a dark thing that I do, really dark thing that I do, is when we take off, I always have the window. I always get a window seat, or try to as best I can, and I always have the window shade up because my thought process is, if we go down, I want the last thing that I saw to be outside in the earth, not inside some death tube.
That is a little dark, but I understand the logic behind it.
Sometimes I want to see Earth. I want to go down seeing like
you're about to see Earth.
Sometimes I look at the
fucked up, Trent.
Sometimes I look at all the heads ahead of me on a plane. Right, you see all the rows of heads.
We gave Frank an opportunity to get dark, and here we
go. I
I
literally
apologize. It's my fault.
I literally picture the moment like all the time of like everything's serene. We're on a plane. We're there, and then the heads start going boom, 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 and then like the front of the plane just like erupts, and we all get sucked out. Like I look at people, and I'm like, fuck, man, that guy looks like a dude that's gotten sucked out of a plane in like a movie before. I'm like, now this lady looks like she's been on the news.
Yeah.
Like that's her face. This looks like a fucking crash.
To relate to that, the one thing that I do in that same vein is when I'm looking at my ticket and I look at the flight number, I say, that's a flight number that is going to be on the bottom ticker at CNN. That's going to be on the CNN
same
ticker.
Thing, man.
Yeah. I think about
UA
that.
Flight 672. It's
like that's the one.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah. United 4878. Like that's going to be on the bottom ticker on CNN.
Now, I don't want to be insensitive to the people, because there's been bad things that have happened on planes, and that's a fucking hard. We legitimately fly through a tube. It's one of the more dangerous things you can possibly do, and we all just act like it's a normal thing.
No, and I don't think we're being insensitive to any of that. We're just saying these are real thoughts that I have.
No, not insensitive in that aspect. It's more like the gravity of actually getting on a plane and flying through the air should be so much scarier because of like things that have happened on planes, things that happen to planes. We all just get on there and we fly over the world and like from New York to California as if it's almost like an annoyance.
But
I think Louis C.K. has actually told this joke where he's like, people should be fucking screaming at the top of their lungs on planes.
They should be like, can you believe we're flying through the air right now?
Can you believe we're sitting down in a chair going fucking 400 miles an hour or whatever it is at 30,000 feet and we are flying amongst the clouds in a tube with two just regular dudes flying. Like, I mean, those guys go home and make hamburgers in their hotel room and they just like fly the plane. Like, it's just crazy to me.
Flying is something that could make you shit your pants. And if that happens, I got a great solution for that.
Oh, here we go.
It's called Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes. We got to have a serious chat about your bathroom habits because it's time to quit shitty, scratchy toilet paper. You know what I'm talking about. That'll ruin your week if you get stuck with that kind of crap, no pun intended, and switch to Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes are extra large, flushable wipes made with plant-sourced fibers designed to give your butt a cleaner, more refreshing finish than TP after going to the restroom. Think about it. When you wash your face, hands, or body, you use water to get yourself clean. So when it comes to the dirtiest thing that we do, why do we use dry toilet paper? Not any longer. use Dude Wipes. It will change your life. Your bum will thank you, and you'll never look at an empty toilet paper roll the same way again. This is true with March Madness. Maybe you're drinking beer. Maybe you have a bad diet going on. I don't want to get into the details, but Dude Wipes is here to help you. They're going to change the way
There's a
that you
lot
do
of
your
guys
business.
across the country this last weekend, and I'm sure I'm talking to a couple of them too, where if you just had a March Madness weekend where it's wings, it's burgers, it's fries, it's beer,
French onion
dip, everything, that's got to come out somewhere.
I think I shit my pants before a hockey game the other night. Roller hockey game.
You're having a real issue because when we were playing Spanish,
yeah.
no, Spyglass.
Yeah.
You came up to me after the fourth hole and said, "I got something going on right now." And I was like, "What's up?" And you said, "I think I just shit my pants." And luckily
Dude,
you had not, but
I think I got like a leaky bumhole right now or something. Things aren't as tight as they used to be for some reason. I don't know what's going on, but
Dude Wipes can help you.
all I know is that, when we were at Spyglass, I came over to Trent in confidence. And I said, I'm with Todd Martin,
Big
the
mistake.
fucking, he's the leader of the golf industry at Peter Millar. He's a fucking big swinging dick. And I said, I'm sitting in the cart with him right now, and I think I have poop all over my bumhole. I said, I don't know how it happened. I don't even remember farting. I just know that when I'm standing here right now talking to you, dude, I think I've soiled all over my fucking asshole. And I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I was feeling around. It started feeling like it was going down my leg or something.
Oh.
Dude, hey, I didn't do it. Nothing was there when I went into the bathroom after the fifth hole. So I don't know what that feeling was. Maybe it's just mental. But, Dude Wipes was good because I was able to go in there, clean it up. I was fresh.
Yeah.
The hockey game the other
Dude
night,
Wipes,
I think I did shit my pants. But Dude Wipes was there. to help me.
DudeWipes.com. Use the code GOLF15 for 15% off your entire order. You go to DudeWipes.com. Use the code GOLF15 for 15% off. You can also find them at Amazon, Walmart, or Target nationwide. Don't let what happened to Frankie happen to you. You can clean yourself up. You'll be in good shape.
Real quick,
Rory-
before I mentioned, I said that it's odd to me that you guys put stuff in your glove hand, but I think you took that as the stuff in your back pocket. I meant in your left pocket, like where your glove is usually. For me, it's my right, but like I would never be able to put like little trinkets and stuff in there because like sticking a glove inside a pant pocket's weird, right? And I know that you take your glove off on the green and stuff, so most of the stuff is being used on the green, but like. Usually you're holding your putter with that. Like I just have everything in my free hand pocket. I'll just stick it all in there.
In an ideal world, I do put my glove in my back left pocket. But like I'm saying, I don't have a system like Riggs does. So sometimes that glove ends up in my front left pocket and now it's chaos. That's when things start to get chaotic. Because normally I like to have it in my back left pocket.
Yeah, I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Rory's in a house of horrors right now, it seems. And the first kind of meme, funny tweet, whatever, that's come out of the Dell match play is Rory's ball's just in a fucking pool in somebody's backyard, out of bounds, down in Austin. Swing coach, he hired Pete Cowan, renowned swing coach, to help him out. Rory also said, I'd be lying if I said that my issues didn't have anything to do with what Bryson did at the U.S. Open. Not issues necessarily, but trying to make changes. I think a lot of what people saw were like, whoa, if this is the way that they're going to set up golf courses in the future, what Bryson's doing helps. It really helps. The one thing that people don't appreciate is how good Bryson is out of the rough, not only because of how upright he is, but because his short irons are longer than standard, so he can get a little more speed through the rough than other guys. Thought being able to get some more speed is a good thing, and maybe I just, to the detriment of a little bit of my swing, I got there, but I just maybe need to rein it in a little bit. So all of these quotes are clearly revealing that Bryson and the whole Bryson effect has affected dramatically Rory McIlroy and his swing and his approach. And that's probably leading to some of the shitty golf that we've seen from Rory.
Yeah, and at the time of recording this, he lost to Ian Poulter today 6-5. So things are not going well for Rory McIlroy. I don't know what hole it was today, but he put one in a swimming pool in someone's backyard. It just bounced off the cart path, went into someone's swimming pool. Rory just needs to put on blinders. I think he's got as much talent as you could possibly have as a golfer, it seems. So if he just does his own thing, and I think this is what he's alluding to now, where he did get caught up in the Bryson, the distance race or whatever you want to call it, and if he just goes back to playing like Rory McIlroy, it's easier said than done. But I think he needs to stop getting influenced by things that are going on outside of his control and just go back to what he was doing before, because he's a world-class player, as everyone knows. So to start chasing things that are outside of what he normally does, probably a bad idea. And like I said, he got trounced by Ian Poulter today, so something's got to change. And Pete Cowan, he brought him aboard, so we'll see if that has any drastic effects on what Rory does.
Yeah, and look, like Kyle Morikawa is currently the 4th ranked player in the world. And it's not like Morikawa's known as absolutely piping the golf ball. He plays his game. He plays within himself, and it works extremely well for him. So, I get that Rory is on a different level and expects himself to be on a different level. So if you see someone doing what Bryson's doing and you see it work, which we've discussed a lot, I get that it could rattle you a little bit, but it's not like Rory's short. Like Rory's one of the longest drivers, one of the longest hitters on the PGA Tour. So and no one ever thought with Rory's game that, man, if he could really pick up a little distance or a little strength out of the rough or these areas that he'd really be able to tighten up. It was wedge play and his short game. And we've laughed a lot on the show about anytime they cut to Rory for a stretch there on the green, no matter how far the putt was, you knew he wasn't going to make it. You would look at your buddy and be like, "How bet you dinner this misses," and it just would miss all the time. So it's like what Rory felt like Rory needed to hone in on was like Butch Harmon talked about with DJ, where like DJ just went to work on his short game, on his wedges, on everything inside 100 yards, and he went from DJ, who was good and really good, but not the best, to the best player in the world. And so for Rory to focus on distance and hitting it farther, just seems like he's smarter than that. It seems like he's more observant than that, right? He's got like this Zen approach a little bit. He's given interviews about trying to have more of a Zen approach, and he's won 4 majors, and he's Rory McIlroy, won the Players. He's won the FedEx. So for him to then be like, I'm just going to chase distance and let it mess up his swing so much to the point he just lost 6 and 5 to Ian Poulter. It's just very surprising, I would say.
He's also got Winged Foot stuck in his head. Like he seems to think that every tournament, every course is going to be like Winged Foot. And I understand that the majors, everything's going to be turned up, the rough's going to be harder, like it's going to be a longer distance. But like he very much, at least from these interviews and these quotes, he just keeps thinking about Winged Foot and how Bryson dominated Winged Foot and how he had the wedges in his hand when other players were further back. Like I think the point of this is, and Rory knows, Rory's a smart guy, like we're saying. He's just got to play his own game and stop chasing Bryson in this whole distance race, because clearly it's not working at all.
No, you don't want this to be like the defining moment of Rory's next like chapter of his game. Like I don't think he should be chasing Bryson DeChambeau. To your guys' point, there's really no reason for him to be changing his swing in that aspect of the game. He hits the ball long enough. Not every single golf tournament is going to be Winged Foot. It's not going to be as treacherous where you need to get those short wedges into the greens. I mean, like Winged Foot's a 1 in a million fucking hard golf course, And
yes.
I think Rory McIlroy is. You think he's falling? Like, you think being him's like a lot more difficult because he has to comment on all these things that like now he has to comment on like the Bryson and he had to comment on the distance report and all of that stuff like that. It's always in his head. It's like constantly in his head and like changing the way that he plays the game.
Hardy.
Hardy. What do you think about Rory McIlroy, Hardy?
What's going on?
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. How are y'all? It's good to see y'all.
I know. It is good. It's been a while. It's been almost like a year, which is crazy.
Yeah, when was that? When did we do that? It was like this summer?
Yeah. What was that, like June, July, somewhere around there we did that? Was it August? I don't know. It was last summer.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. I mean, it was good for us.
Dude, yeah, of course it was. Dude, I never doubted for a single second that you were going to make that putt. I swear to God, dude, I never doubted for a single second.
I don't know what it is. I can't make putts when I make my videos. People laugh and shit on my putting, but for whatever reason, when there's a 4-man scramble on the line, there's a good chance it goes in, and I get 3 looks at it, so that helps. But I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. So, So we're joined by Hardy. I give you a little intro at the top of the show, but you are obviously a country singer, songwriter. You've written for a bunch of phenomenal artists. You've got, and I was going through some of this. You've got One Beer, which is a 2020 song. It's got 90 million streams on Spotify alone. Give Heaven Some Hell, which is your new single, 2021 jam, 20 million streams on Spotify already. Huge golfer, and you had an ace, which I want to get to, but you're doing the damn thing. We got to meet you last year. How's life as Hardy right now?
It's good, man. It's last year was interesting just because as shitty of a year as it was, it's my best year so far, and had a lot of really great things happen. So it was a little different for me, but things are good. We're getting ready to start playing shows again, and just everything is looking really good.
Yeah, we had when we were chatting with Chris Mandy a little bit about kind of the same thing, and he was he got way into golf, super into golf the last couple of years with the quarantine, which I think a lot of people did. He had a good year in terms of his career or whatnot. So there's nothing wrong with like trying to be like, hey, I'm trying to make the made the most of a very, very shitty situation. It's exciting you guys are getting ready to do shows again. Have you done like anything show related in the last year and a half?
Yeah, I did. So the first thing that we did, actually did like a lot in November and December. I did a show in Rome, Georgia that was socially distanced. And I did a show in Atlanta, 2 shows in Atlanta that was socially distanced. But dude, we did Florida in November, and it was wide ass open. It was fucking awesome. it was, I mean, it was a real actual show, and it was fun. And that was the last thing. I did an acoustic run with this Texas guy, Co Wetzel, a couple weeks ago. And, this was the week that Texas opened back up. But this coming weekend will be the first time since the Florida shows that we'll play like full band shows that aren't like socially distanced. I'm pumped about it.
God, that's awesome. I know, like, Frankie, Trent are huge show guys, go into shows. So it's probably the thing I'm most excited about for us to hopefully get through the pandemic, reopen, is going back to shows, because there's fucking nothing like a good live show when you guys are into it, when the crowd's into it. And man,
Yes.
we've been deprived of that shit for like almost a year and a half now.
Yeah. What kind of shows do y'all usually go to? Just anything and everything?
So these guys love like comedy shows. I was Frankie,
Cool.
I'm sure he'll get into this. He always talks about being, he's the drummer in a band. So,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why
You
I
play
want.
lefty?
No, I'm actually dominant right hand, so everything's righty.
Oh,
But I want to
I
talk
got
to
you.
you about the drums, because on your album, A Rock, you have some fucking awesome rock songs on there, and your drummer kills it with the double bass drum. I mean, I in that song Boot, you guys just fucking rock out.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite song. Maybe not on that record, but to play live, that's number one, dude. That's my favorite song to play every night.
Yeah, I actually just want to get right into that. Like, so you're diehard country. You're just country through and through. You got this. You got the voice. You got the story. Everything about you is country. Where did the inspiration to try and bring in a little bit of rock and roll into that album come from?
Well, so I grew up in Mississippi, and I grew up very country, but I didn't listen to country music until like Eric Church came along. So my family, my mom and my sister did, but like my dad didn't really care for it. And so he kind of just forced rock and roll on me from an early age. So I always loved rock and roll. And that's the one like weird thing about the whole situation, is that I didn't listen to country until probably 2010. So that's really truly just kind of natural instinct or natural influences to speak the language, country, and talk about like kind of what I know, which is, how I grew up and like my experiences. But sonically and musically, it just comes out that way. It's just sort of what I've always, listened to.
And it's like, it's not crazy. It's actually one of my favorite things about really any music, but I'm a huge country fan. So anytime there's influence from guys clearly liking stuff, you see it seep in. And I mean, Eric Church, like one of his biggest jams is Springsteen, where it's just about fucking
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's cool to see other influences creep in. I think that like, you know, bringing that, especially if it's your passion, it's clearly something you know a ton about, you've loved forever, you've been into, letting that like creep into your albums, to your songs. It's so authentic and it just plays.
Yeah, and I think country music is and I think every genre to a certain extent is similar to this, but I think country more than anything is there's such a broad spectrum. There's such a broad spectrum. Like if you played a Sam Hunt song and a Midland song or a John Party song back to back, most people, if you were from a different planet, you would never think that that was the same genre. And I think a little bit I used to be almost opposed to that, but now that I'm like I've gotten in the industry and stuff and I kind of understand it more, I appreciate that there's 20 different lanes of subgenre within the country genre. I think it's really cool.
SportClips stylists are experts when it comes to men's and boys haircuts. Speaking of, boys and haircuts, Frankie probably has, I would say, the best head of hair on this here show. And when you get a nice haircut, Frankie, it's very noticeable. And I think SportClips is probably the main reason.
Well, I like to wear hats a lot because I have a feminine forehead. But, there's nothing better than getting a nice cut. And it's the guy or the girl that does your hair just knows how to do it better than you do somehow. I've had this head of hair for 27 years,
Yeah.
But for some reason, when I get inside a stranger's seat, they just know how to comb it, they know how to cut it, they know how to move it, they know how to gel it, and I can't even replicate it. So I'm a big haircut guy, even though I like to hide the haircut. As much as weird as that is. I love getting a haircut. I get a haircut like once every 2 weeks. And that's why I like SportClips.
SportClips, as you just described, Frankie, they get it. They also, a lot of these places you might go to, they specialize in women's haircuts. SportClips specializes in men's and boys' haircuts. They've got a great experience with the on-deck text alerts, which means less wait time for you, more prime time to go do other things that you would rather be doing. You will get a 15-minute heads up when it's time to head in, another text when you're next in line. SportClips gives you more ways to save time so you can enjoy. Obviously, time is money, so you can just enjoy your time. Text message opt-in is required for this. Message and data fees may apply. Visit a SportClips near you for a haircut that exceeds the typical experience from start to finish. They've got over 1,800 locations nationwide. A SportClips is closer than you think. Are there like in golf, how there's like golf snobs? Are there like country snobs that like sort of give you the look of when you're not doing pure country the way they think it should be?
That's called Americana music. Yeah, there's a lot of that, and I just shake my head at those kind of people because, in my opinion, Luke Bryan, if he called either any of those people tomorrow, I guarantee you they'd probably write with him. And I just think personally that, for lack of a better term, they're probably just mad that they're not more in the rat race, in my opinion, because it's fun and it's lucrative, and that's not what it's all about. But it's awesome, and I think just playing the game is part of the game. But yeah, there's people out there that turn their nose up in a heartbeat.
Also, like having a plethora of types of songs to be able to pull from playing live, like being able to, you can have a nice melody and old school country song, and then all of a sudden, like another song that I love on a rock is Where You At, where it's just such a groovy rock feel. It's like, holy fuck, what kind of concert am I at right now? Where I just heard Boots, I just heard, it's just like, you can go grab a beer, come back, and feel like you're not at a country concert, you're at a fucking rock concert, and then you go grab another beer, you come back and you're crying because the lyrics are so you're holding up your beer because it's like you want to kiss the girl right next to you. It's such a good mix up, and that's got to be so much fun for you to be able to mix that up on stage as opposed to just on an album.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's something for everybody, and hopefully, I feel like it's all cohesive in a way.
Yeah.
To where it doesn't come off like not authentic or not, me, but I love that about just that. My kind of thing is yeah, there's something for everybody. And it really is truly like, all it is just like inspiration coming out and in a way that, like you said, like this, I'm a fan of this kind of stuff. And so I have a song that's kind of in this lane and in this lane, and lyrically or whatever, it all kind of comes together in the end. But I love it, man. And it's true. Like I think it creates a better fan base for me. Just because some people might not be into the big rock stuff, but maybe are in more of the songwriter stuff. So there's stuff for everybody.
Dude, talk to me about being this. You're come up like being probably one of the best songwriters in the game at one point, and now you're your own guy. Like how do you like transition from that? I find that super interesting. You write God's Country, Blake Shelton singing it. It's got fucking hundreds of millions of downloads. Like, how do you go from that to then like getting the confidence to do it on your own?
Man, it's actually kind of a crazy story. I never I was just a songwriter, and I didn't want to be an artist. And not that I'm not grateful. I'm extremely grateful and thankful that the opportunity presented itself. But so my situation, the transition was tough, dude, because I just had enough people being like, you should do the artist thing, and you should do the artist thing. And one day, Joey Moy, who is the producer at Big Loud, who's produced, a lot of my favorite people, he called me out of the blue one day, and he just said, "Hey man, I just wanted to let you know, I've been hearing a lot of your demos, and if you ever wanted a record deal and wanted to cut a record, like I would cut a record on you tomorrow." And I was like, my mind was kind of blown a little bit. And so I just said, yeah, because the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, I think I'd be an idiot if I didn't see what this is all about. But dude, it was hard, man. Like the first time, I think I went to like a country concert or something after my stuff started sort of popping off or whatever, and like losing your anonymity or whatever, and I'm sure you guys even see a little bit of that, like just people recognizing you and shit. I wasn't used to that, and I wasn't expecting that because that wasn't my goal. And so the transition was really, really hard, man. And there's still times where I kind of deal with that because I still consider myself just like a songwriter, and it's just taken a lot to process. But then at the same time, man, you like to build a fan base, and you see all these people that support you and they have your back, and to be able to see like, the music and how it affects people. And I get like, Give Heaven Some Hells, like my single, and dude, I get all these messages all the time on Instagram of how that song has kind of helped somebody get through a loss and that sort of thing. It's super rewarding, but it was tough at first, man. It really was. It was something that took a lot of getting used to.
Is it more difficult to write a song for knowing that someone else is going to sing it, or write it for yourself?
Probably somebody else. It's all, yeah. Cause like when it's for myself, it's more of like what comes naturally, but if we're shooting for a specific person, you have to dig into the lyric a little more. So-and-so wouldn't say that. They wouldn't sing about this, and that kind of thing. So it definitely requires more finesse, if you will, to try to like peg one down for somebody else.
Are you coming up with the melodies when you write, like God's Country? Like, is that just lyric based, like your work, or are you actually coming up with like the riffs and the melodies and where he's going to take his voice and where you're going to go higher and lower?
I think 95% of songwriters, there are a few guys that are pretty much lyrics only, but a large percent of the guys in town, it happens at the same time.
Right.
And if anything, the lyrics they never stand alone. Usually if like nobody ever comes in with essentially a poem that you have to turn into a song, but you will come in with a melody, a chord, like a groove, and then have a really sick melody, and then try to find, the words that fit that, but it's never the opposite. Very few people come in and they're like, I have this written down, and they read it. It just, I think back in the day that used to be a thing, but in my experience, I think that's only happened one time, and it wasn't with me. It was somebody came in with like a lyric, and it is hard.
It's funny to hear you call it a poem, because that's just what it is. It's just like, no, that's just a poem. That's not a song, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to put melody to words, but it's easier to put words to melody, I think.
Yeah. Interesting. It's also super interesting to hear you talk about coming up. Yeah, that was like, put that on a t-shirt right there. It's interesting to hear you coming up because everybody else, the goal is the opposite, right? Like they dreamt their whole lives when they're playing in bars, like they dreamt about being the star. They dreamt about hearing their song on the radio. They dreamt about like being recognized and going to the Grand Opera, and you having essentially like kind of the opposite view of like, oh shit, people recognize that's not actually what I was getting into.
Yeah.
It's just such a different kind of mindset towards it, which is it's really interesting to hear.
Yeah, it's it really hit me like about 6 months into like after Hicks tape came out. I don't know if y'all have heard that. It was something I put out like a couple years ago, and that was the first thing that really sort of blew up. I talked to a guy and he said that I was wondering why I was so down and just stressed all the time or whatever it was, and he pretty much put it in perspective like that I am internally, and this is really deep, but whatever. That I'm suffering the loss of my former self because I will probably never have that back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I was dealing with a lot of, so I wasn't going crazy, but it was a very psychological thing because I didn't know how to process that my old life was done and over. And I'm not Elvis by any means, but you know what I mean? I was trying to figure out how to process that, that Michael Hardy as a songwriter who could go anywhere he wanted to and nobody would know who he was essentially dead.
Fuck,
it's
dude.
pretty crazy.
But it's in a weird way, that's actually the healthiest way. That's like the healthiest mindset you can have, because if you're the other way and you're like Riggs was saying, where people want to be the star, they want to be known by millions of people, they want to be super famous, you end up chasing the wrong things. But I think in your case where you're sort of you did it backwards, yeah, you're going through this obviously strange period where you feel like your former self is now gone, but you have the right perspective to have for a person in that situation.
I think so. Yeah, I try to. I'm really thankful, I think, for the whole process because I definitely never wanted to be famous. So, yeah, I think that I have a good grip on that just because, yeah, I mean, you nailed it. You're exactly right.
Have you ever written a song about that feeling?
Yeah, I wrote a song with Morgan on his recent record, Living the Dream, that was kind of similar to that, just about how, and that was a little bit more of like, yeah, I mean, it covers a lot of stuff, but it has a little bit to do with how it's it can really bring you down if you're approaching it a certain way, for sure.
Super interesting. I love
It
that
is,
shit.
man.
Yeah.
I love talking to these guys, man. Like we've gotten into it with Jake, with Cole Swindell, just because it's like it's real meaningful stuff that I think helps a lot of people process stuff because they can, even if somebody's not necessarily a country star, it's recognizable, right? Like anybody can relate to the feeling of your life changing dramatically and sort of like your past, who you were, no matter what, whether it was like within a friend group or within a career or a certain job, like you're never going to have that again. And it's not going to be who you are going forward. So I think like these types of conversations, when they get deep, people might not expect that when they come to the Foreplay Golf podcast, but I love it because it's real and everybody goes through real emotions,
Yeah. And I like that, talking about it in a format like this, because I mean, people, it really is kind of inside looking out, like we're all still humans, you know what I mean? And it's tough. Sometimes it's really tough. And even before any of this kind of happened, I always thought like, there's no way that they're depressed. They have all the money in the world. They can do anything they want. They can go anywhere. They can do anything. But it really, when it comes down to like your happiness and all that, it can take a toll on it if you don't have, the right perspective and the right grip on it. I've seen it with a lot of people, and it's a very real thing. So
it's super true, man. We've seen it on like such a smaller level on our side, right? Like we do things. We're just trying to make livings over here. Like I never thought I was working at a pizza shop. Never thought in a million years I'd be having people call me a fucking fat asshole on the internet for the rest of my life. So like it does rattle you a little bit where you're like, man, like, I mean, I've talked to people before where I'm like, there's nights where I'm just like, man, it was so easy to just fucking take pizzas out of that oven and work with my dad and see my aunt and my cousins and just fucking drive home, get to work at 4 o'clock. But, you know, like, there was opportunities to go out and better ourselves. Everyone saw an opportunity to do it, and we put ourselves out there. And, yeah, there's prices you got to pay, but it's also fucking awesome at times, right? Like, there's no doubt that it's awesome. But it is crazy to hear it from all walks of life, man. Like, you turn on the fucking radio and your song's playing, like, you don't think that that's like a regular person that's like, man, like, I don't know, it's fucking, I don't know that I want to be on, like, everyone listening to my voice right now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's different. It's weird.
Sure, totally.
Merch, everybody loves merch, and we've got some really good stuff. We're all wearing it right now, from the Foreplay hoodies to the Barstool Golf hoodies to our new Peter Millar gear to accessories. We got Transfusion head covers, drivers, 3-woods, putters, whatever you would like, we've got it. Store.barstoolsports.com. Go to the Foreplay section, go to the golf section, and you will find all of our favorites. And we just have a ton of different options outside of that. Trent has the old Penn, the classic Penn hoodie on. Penn to the moon. We've got Nardini Hockey Club. I got one of their hoodies. So outside of the golf stuff, there's a lot of good things as well. But fellas, have we done the merch game pretty well, or what?
I mean, you want to talk about companies to pair up with? You're talking Peter Millar. You're talking G4. If you go on our site and you go through our quarter zips, the fact that there's Peter Millar quarter zips on the Barstool Sports website is actually an astonishing fact. Like, customized Peter Millar clothing. Like, how did we get here? That's as good as it gets. It's the number one clothing company to associate yourself with in golf. That's just a fact.
Just says Barstool Golf right on it.
Fucking Barstool Golf. And it's just such good quality. Every time I've worn a Peter Millar quarter zip, collared shirt, pants, the whole thing, I've gotten compliments. Someone complimented me, and we haven't talked about this, and I don't know if this is specifically Barstool merch, but someone in Vegas, I mean, a grown woman, I don't know, 45, 50 years old, stopped on the Vegas Strip and said, "Oh, my God, what pants are those?"
She had her husband with her.
And she goes, "Look, honey, like, you need pants like that." And I kind of, like, pinched the front of my pants so that my butt would stick out a little more because she was behind me. I said, "Oh, you like these?" She goes, "Yeah, like, what are those?" I said, "Peter Millar." Now, that's the kind of company that we are associated with. You go on there, you can get all. We have such a plethora. I've used that word twice in this podcast now. We have a plethora of Peter Millar stuff.
And we got just hoodies. We got everything.
Hoodies, hats, like he said, little trinkets. You know? That's the second time I use the word trinkets.
You're on a roll.
I'm on a roll.
He's doubling up on words.
I don't even know if this ad read's going to go in the part where I've said trinkets already, but that's what we're doing.
Store.barstoolsports.com. Go get our gear. That's how you can support us. That's how you can look good. And again, we take it very seriously. We put it on really good brands, apparels, all kinds of good stuff. So store.barstoolsports.com.
Let's talk about your golf game.
Because you're G, as the assholes call it.
You're sick. You were kind of the ringer of that country music group. Maybe we just didn't expect you to be that good, but, like, what's your handicap right now? You're sick.
I mean, I haven't honestly played enough to really dial it in, but I finished last year at like a 7 or 6.5 or something like that.
And you haven't been playing forever, right?
I mean, I've been playing since I was probably like realistically playing since I was like 16.
Okay. And you were probably my favorite part of the crew because you were very into it. You could tell you were competitive.
Yeah.
You were grinding over reads, and you weren't there just to have a slap dick fuck around and we'll see who wins. You were kind of like, no, we're gonna win. We're gonna beat these guys. Jake got, he got a little lost in the sauce, so you were kind of the ringer, and it was just fun because we were like, okay, this Hardy, he's a problem. Hardy's a problem.
When I heard you say that on the tee, something kind of happened where I was like, all right, when you saw me hit a couple of irons and you were walking by, and I remember you saying, like, Hardy's going to be a problem. And I was like, I like that. That's the perspective right now. I'm going to try to continue that all day. But yeah, I'm just competitive, man. And at the end, I had a blast no matter what, but I definitely wanted to, dude. And there's cameras and shit. Like, I was like, I want to play as good as I can. This is my one shot for whether people know who I am or not, to see my swing and I was there for it, dude.
The swing showed up real well. I got this thing going on my throat, my tongue. I don't know what's happening.
Frankie's battling a little throat
I
issue,
got
tongue
a
issue.
little bit of water. The swing showed real well. You got that lefty smooth swing. People are used to seeing my lefty quick, very vicious, violent swing, and it was a nice change of pace to see someone that has actual tempo and has some beauty to it. And I really enjoyed watching. Yeah, it takes divots. I really enjoyed watching Hardy play some golf because you could tell that you take it seriously, but also that like you love the game.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I do, man. And you know what's funny is like I am not a snob by any, like I'm from fucking 8,000 people town and, redneck, and I love being loud and having a good time. But like for some reason, just the whole aesthetic and the etiquette of golf, I just appreciate the fuck out of that. Like, which is kind of not me, or it's very not me, but it just everything, dude, like looking, which I looked like shit that day, but like dressing nice and like, but fixing your divot and, the talking in the backswing and stepping in lines and just all of that. I genuinely, because it's a part of the game, in my opinion, it all comes in one package. And I just appreciate the game of golf, I think, more than any other sport.
Do you think because it's so alternate universe of your upbringing and your lifestyle that you almost feel like it's like an alternate universe Hardy where you can step into this like other world for like 4 hours where things are a little bit more controlled and there's like
a structure
there's
to
structure, there's the etiquette. It's like your like shoulders are back and your head's like held high a little bit more as opposed to like, I mean, in your songs you're talking about like your dip can is filled more than yours and it's just a lot more just like dirtier, grungier, fucking just slumming it through and trying to get by, and golf couldn't be more opposite. So I wonder if that do you think there's any correlation to that?
Yeah, it's probably somewhat of an outlet because I don't really walk through life prim and proper or with the proper etiquette or anything like that. I definitely probably subconsciously, I don't know if I've ever thought about it like that, but there's probably some sort of outlet for just a little bit of discipline and whatever you want to call it.
Dude, it is funny, right? Like we all wear fucking hoodies and jeans and backward hats. And then when we go do this one thing, we're all like, collared shirt tucked in, nice khakis, nice shoes that look like fucking ballroom dancing shoes. And it's like we all kind of do this thing and it's just not us. It's like it's almost like when people like, when they go to work and they're professional and that's just a different human than they actually are. They just like the definition of being professional is you're just act like who you aren't. And that's almost like that in golf. We do like we get all geared up and we do all this stuff that we don't ever do in any other realm of life.
Yeah, that's true. And it's really interesting. I feel like golf is like one of the few things that like exists. And I think like you guys are bringing a certain culture that makes it cool because like you said, you guys are in hoodies and stuff right now. And y'all, I think it's cool for people to see that you're not also like just out on the course, like wrecking golf carts, and which I think that shit is awesome and funny, but I think the dichotomy is really cool. And I think it's cool that you guys are bringing this, like we're normal here but we're, golf people, whatever you want to call that here. And I think it's a cool thing. And I appreciate that. And I feel like I can relate to that.
And it's, right. I think in golf, everybody's pretty comfortable with fitting yourself to the surroundings, right? Like if we go to a certain muni where it's kind of like no holds barred and you get away with, then like it's a little more casual or chill. You're wearing the hoodie, you're playing music, you don't care. But also if you get invited to Cypress or something, we're all in on whatever Cypress Point wants us to do. It's like, no, that's fine. I'll burn myself on. I'll throw it in the fucking Pacific. I don't care. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to act how you guys want me to act. And I think that in golf, we're all very willing to sort of make sure that we're cool to a certain degree with whatever the place that we're at is cool with, because again, it's for whatever reason, it's like part of the game. We're happy to do it and we love the game. So here we are and we're going to abide by whatever you want us to abide by.
Oh, dude, you better bet when I went and played Pinehurst last year, I was at Dick's Sporting Goods buying the nicest clothes, club cleaners, everything, dude. Because you're right. I wanted to look awesome. I wanted to feel awesome and look cool and look like I was supposed to be there. And you're exactly right, man. But if I go play some shitty course up the road, I'll probably wear this. You know what I mean? Just because it fits the aesthetic.
So we got to hear about the ace. I jump on Instagram and all of a sudden I see you walking up. You're doing that. You know when it's an ace video because the guy's like walking up to the green and his buddy filming. So walk us through what happened.
So we played. It was me and my buddy Nick, and we played. We had played 18 holes. So the one thing is that we played 27 that day. So this was hole 20 of 27. It was the worst round that I've played in 3 years. I shot 88 on a par 70. It was horrible. I played absolutely horrible. So we made our second turn, right? We made our turn at 18 or whatever you want to call it. We finished 18. They sent us to the back for our last 9. My buddy, we're in the same cart. It's just me and him. He's a lefty. So I said, you know what would be fun? Let's play out of each other's back. So that hole, I hit that hole in one with his 9-iron.
No way.
No way.
Yeah. We didn't really think about it until like 2 minutes into the celebration that it was his 9-iron. And he has – so anyway, we traded. He's playing today, and he's got my 9-iron.
Well, I was going to say, it's your 9-iron now.
Yeah, he's got tailor-made irons, and so do I. So at least they're similar irons. But yeah, so it was just a big 150 yards. Pin was in the very back, kind of somewhat of a 2-tier green, really long, maybe like 100 foot in length green, somewhat narrow, and it was just a big cut and into the wind, and the wind was just eating it up. So it was just, it was cutting and it just shot up into space, and it hit the right side of the green, and it was a big cut. So it took off, dude. And my buddy, it was just the thing. Go in. And, we say that all the time, right?
Yep.
And, dude, it was just screaming across the green. And, I mean, saw it, heard it. There was no doubt. It wasn't like the ball disappeared or that might be in. It was, I mean, it could not be more clear. And, and then we celebrated for a little bit. We jumped up and down. And then he was like, wait a second, that's my fucking 9-iron. And it was cool, man. I went up to the pro shop. The guy had a little form to fill out, and they got a little plaque up there for me, and I got to go pick it up. It's going to be great.
Now, what was the shot that followed up the hole in one? I feel like we never hear about the next
shot that followed up a hole in one. No joke, was a 300-yard par 4, and I put it about 20 yards past the green. And I had been wind was to my back. I mean, it wasn't, but I had been hit. I could not get off the tee that day, and that was probably the best drive I've hit all year.
That's funny. That's actually
awesome.
I feel like if we asked every single person that's gotten a hole in one, the next shot, for most amateurs, it'd be like a back to earth, like, you just stuff it off the tee or something. You hit it out of bounds. It's like, all right, like that's who I am.
My brother at Bandon playing Pacific Dunes, there's 10, 11, or the holes back-to-back par 3s. He gets an ace on the 10th hole with a 9-iron, and then the very next hole was back into the wind, so it was also a 9-iron. He topped it into the shit, made triple, and couldn't have possibly cared less. We went right after that. He ordered a bunch of transfusions. We had a bunch of drinks. We had the best day of all time. But perfect 9-iron. His was similar. Like, he hit it just how he wanted to. One hop, rolls right in the hole, was like, deserved to go in, great shot. Next, cold top with a 9-iron off a tee. So I think you're onto something, Frankie. We got to ask everybody that.
Totally.
You know what's funny? My favorite part of the story is when we got back. It wasn't like it's not your typical clubhouse. It's it's out in the country. It's not a super, super nice course. It's a great course. It's got a lot of charm, but it's Nashville. So there's a lot of great places, but this is my course, and it's like 5 minutes from my house. And I joined it last year. But we get back up to the clubhouse, and, they have a fridge that has beer in it. And I get up there, and there's like an abnormal amount of carts. It's close to dark, and there's a lot of carts sitting around. And I walked in to tell the guy, Jonathan, the pro, I was like, I hit a hole in one. And I was about to ask, like, can I go out here and just have these guys file in and get a beer if they want a beer? And but I didn't ask him. I said, what's the deal with all these carts? And he was like, oh, on Tuesday nights we do a church event where like this certain church has a bunch of guys that come out here when we play a little 9-hole tournament. So I stayed away from running out there and asking who wanted a beer. I thought that was funny.
That is great. Oh my!
That's
God.
amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, saved you a bunch of money that you had the church crew out there.
Yeah, I guess so. This place is awesome. They have $1 natter days, so I might have could have got out of there with like $100 or $50 or something like that. But yeah, it was funny. It was a good time though. It was a good day.
Any golf trips coming up that you have planned? Any cool golf courses that you have your eye on?
You know, I'm playing a place. We're playing Milledgeville, Georgia, this weekend, and I'm playing a nice place there. It's got like a Native American name. I can't think of it. It's like Cullowhee or something. It's something like that. It's the same guys that redid number 2, Pinehurst number 2.
Oh yeah, Core Crenshaw.
Yeah, he did this place, so it's going to be legit. But I'm excited about that. And then I have for a buddy, Jameson Rogers, who's actually he's a really good golfer too. He's a singer. His like bachelor party kind of situation. We're going back to Pinehurst. We're going to do 2, 4, I think 8, and we're going to do that Tobacco Road thing, and hopefully play the fiddle every night before dark too. But so I'm pumped, dude. I haven't played a whole lot of really great courses, but I've done Sawgrass and I've done Pinehurst, and I gotta say Pinehurst there's just something about that place, dude. It is just, I even hate this word, but it truly is like magical. I mean, it's just so freaking badass. I love it. And number 2 is so hard, but it's just awesome, and it's just great.
Yeah, they figured it out there. I think they figured it out there. Clearly, I love Pinehurst, but I think everybody on this show loves Pinehurst. Yeah, it made me bawl like a baby.
Dude, my favorite part is that, like, the transition from earth to fairway is incredible to me. It's similar to like the like a desert course. It is and it's not, but it's that classic case of a course cut into the landscape of what earth looks like there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just how there's no rough, and it looks like shit, and then it's like a little green, and then it's just pristine, you know, the closer it gets to the center. I don't know what it is, but I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they just went out there and put a couple flag sticks in 18 different spots, and we're like, yeah, this is the golf course.
Yeah. And I didn't really know that they had redone it. I didn't know that it used to be more of just like a tradition or just a regular course with rough and all that. I didn't know, like 2010 or 11 or 12 or something like that, they redid it.
Yeah, I think 2010 they came in and you know, it's crazy that process they do. We've talked with Pashley about it a good amount, but you know, they go through all the old photos, as many as they can find, and they try to like legit use photography to best guess where everything really was, you know, in the 30s or the 40s and or the 20s or whatever, and legit try to like mimic it and then revert everything back to that while keeping like some modern characteristics. So it's an incredible process that they do, and I think like Pinehurst number 2, like you said, it looks now the way that they did. If you look at photos from the 90s and 2000s before they redid it, you know, it just looked a little bland. It had like rough, like any other kind of course and whatever. And now when you see a picture from Pinehurst number 2, you know it's Pinehurst.
Yeah, totally. I love it, man. The greens, I mean, how were they when you guys played them? I know they're always insane, but
they're a nightmare.
Were they
Yeah. I degreened I think 7 times. I mean, they were just so hard. Yeah.
More turtles than the fucking Bronx Zoo. Never seen greens like that.
Hell yeah.
On hole number 1, y'all know Logan Lockard.
Oh
yeah.
Frankie. That's Frankie.
Does Frankie know Logan?
Yeah, that's the sweet science for me, man. That guy had me dialed in more than anyone's ever had me dialed in.
Dude, he's my favorite caddy I've ever had. I talk to him like once a month. I mean,
yeah,
which is, you know, I've never done that with a caddy in my life. He's just the coolest dude, and he keeps up with me and stuff. He's really cool. But he was my caddy on the first day, and when we played number 2, and on hole number 1, you know, they're all just like you said, just a freaking mound, and he was, dude. I think Pim was kind of close to the middle, And he said, man, for your first, I missed the green. He was like, for your first chip, just put it in the middle of the green. And we'll at least give you a shot to make a par. Dude, and I chipped it in the middle of the green, and it rolled all the way off. Came back to me or to the right. And even Logan was like, well, I've never seen that before. They're going to be tough today, boys. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
No, he's a really good caddy,
Yeah,
man. He gets you dialed in. Just like when you're playing a course like that, you really have to have the right like mind and the right headspace, because there are certain shots, like you're saying, that you can't go right at the pin. You have to be able to take it in spots that you feel uncomfortable with. And when you have a good caddy like Logan, he makes you feel comfortable doing shit that like you would never think about doing. I remember he was having me putt from like 35 yards off, and it was like 150 feet away from the pin. He's like, I guarantee you will enjoy where this ball ends up, as opposed to trying to nip one clean and like spin it back. Like, you don't have that game. Nah, he was really cool, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. I hope we get him again when we go back. I'm gonna try to request him because he's a great caddy.
When you guys tour around and do shows,
good people.
When you guys tour around and do shows, do you have like a specific crew that you play golf with, like, and you kind of get golf into the schedule? Like, are you playing with the same guys each show?
Well, I plan to do that in the future. You know, we had just gotten in a bus, I guess in like at the end of 2019. I think, or like probably halfway through 2019 or into the fall, and we're kind of just getting the bearings and stuff, because it's hard to, if you're not in a bus, it's hard to make that happen every day, because you know you don't get there till later in the day and all that. But in the future, I want especially this summer, especially if we play shows, I would like to play every day if there's a nice course around. And yeah, I don't know, maybe some guys that we're on tour with, you know, or like Swindell's a golfer, and Jake, if we ever do stuff with them, I would love to go out and play every chance I get. My goal, I want to try to break par one time this year. That's kind of my goal. And I think
pretty
it can
good
be done,
7 handicap, dude. That's a pretty fucking good 7. Like, I think we got to dial in that number a little bit more, because you said something before that made me want to like throw up. You're like, I played like fucking shit and I shot an 88. I don't think I've hit 88 in 2 months. And I'm like, it's just
that's hard to believe though. You got a good swing, man.
It's up here.
Yeah, I hear that.
He does have a nice swing. It's everything else that's a little bit of an issue.
Well, yeah.
I'm trying. I've started off better this year than I usually do. I'm usually at like a 12 or 13 or could maybe even more than that. But I've started off striking the ball better and feel like my swing is more figured out earlier in the year this year. It usually takes me till May or so to really feel like I'm confident. And it's just around the greens right now, I'm trash. I feel like I've never putted a ball in my entire life. So I'm kind of trying to dial that in a little bit. I got a little thing in my basement, and I'm do interviews and stuff. I have my AirPods in, and I'm just putting balls all day.
What are you in like a little man cave right now, by the way? I see a dartboard back there. It looks like a bar.
It's my basement and my little home studio, which is what I'm pretty much sitting at right now. But yeah, I bought a house a couple years ago, and this was just a concrete room, and I've done a lot to it. It's still got a long way to go. I'm trying to get a golden tee over here in the corner.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the final touch to it. But yeah, I love it down here. I spend a lot of time down here.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you got a golden tee touch. They even have those smaller ones. Have you seen those? It's like Arcade 1-Up or something. They've got like they're like 3/4 the size of a full one, so they don't dominate your whole room.
Yeah, my buddy has a studio and he's got one. You definitely can get your fix. You just can't do the thing because you'll break your hand, because the screen is like you kind of have to do the thumbs or yeah, you'll definitely.
No, you got to get the full fucking thing, man. You got to do the whole fucking slide.
I think it would be. I don't know if I would ever leave this basement.
We had one in the office. I don't know where the hell it went.
Yeah, we did have one for like a month.
And we were playing the shit out of it. My hand started hurting.
I don't know where that went.
That's probably why they took it away. You guys were playing on it too much.
Seriously. It's the last thing they need is us to get distracted more than we already are.
All right, Hardy. When are the shows kicking off? When are we getting going?
Pretty much this weekend. Let me check my my calendar. I mean, this weekend, the next weekend, the next weekend, the next weekend. So we have a month of shows. I mean, I'm looking at my schedule, and with the exception of a couple weekends, we're on tour every weekend until probably October, which is
Wow.
awesome.
Amazing.
Where can people find it? Yeah.
Is
Oh,
this,
there you go.
Yeah, website, social, where
Yeah,
people find it?
hardyofficial.com will have my tour schedule, and we've got a lot of stuff in the works that I can't announce or confirm yet. So there will be a large there will be a lot of shows that'll be added very, very soon. But yeah, hardyofficial.com, and my Instagram is just at Hardy.
So, by the way, it's a good Instagram to have.
I had to pay a guy like $500 for it.
Did you really?
It was worth it. Yeah, right when I started, there was a guy, and you know what's funny is I don't know if this was his handle, but there's a Bollywood star whose name is Hardy Sandhu. And if you go to my Instagram and go to my tagged photos, there are so many Indian people that tag me, dude, like way more than I'm tagged, because he's like a huge star. But I get tagged in more, like, I hope they're Indian. I think that they're Indian. I think he's like in India or somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just for shits and giggles, when you get off of here, go look at my tagged photos, and I think that's whose account we bought, which is crazy that he let us get it for $100. But dude, it's thousands of Indian people just taking selfies, and they tag this Hardy Sandhu guy.
Jeez,
that's hilarious.
That's such a good handle, though.
Yeah.
So many people have to do like Hardy_official or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so good.
It's clean.
So clean. Oh, talk to me about what's with the capitalization on on that on all those songs. How come every single song's capitalized? Is there a meaning behind that?
It just started with my first EP I put out, and I don't know. I think just it stands out, and you know, like when you talk about songs like Boots and Where You At, it's just bold, and there was no strategy behind it other than that it's the music can be bold at times, and just kind of wanted to follow suit with that, and you know, now we got to stick with it forever. But I like it. I think it's
I like it too. It's very noticeable. Like, you're on Spotify, you're going through, you're like, every single fucking thing's capitalized here. I mean, he's screaming at us. Boots. It's just fucking you're just fucking screaming at us. I like it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you notice it too. Like when you're on a playlist, a country playlist or something, and it's like all the songs are whatever, not capitalized, and then a Hardy jam is like, boom, that's a fucking Hardy jam.
Yeah, hopefully the song follows suit with that.
No, it does, man. No, you're doing a good job, man. You're killing it. I'm a really big fan. I liked reading into everything, and having you on here talking about everything is, I'm excited to come see you live one of these days.
Please do, all of you guys. I know Riggs has my number. Just share it with everybody, and anytime we're in the area, or even if you guys wanted to fly out to a show, whatever, man, y'all come hang out. It's fun to see it from the other side. I don't know if y'all have gotten to have that experience much, but it's cool to see the sausage get made in the back, and see it from the side stage, or even walk out in the front and just kind of be able to go wherever you want. It's a cool experience. So please don't ever be afraid to hit me up and come to a show anywhere you want to go.
Amazing.
Awesome. We're gonna abuse the hell out of it.
I'll be there.
Man, we when we started becoming, buddies with some of you guys, it was when the pandemic hit. So we haven't been able to really go to any shows and get the different experience that you guys keep kind of teasing us. So you're gonna see us. We're coming.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Please hit me up.
Hardy, thanks, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate having you.
Thank y'all for having me on.
You got it. Thank you for coming. We'll
Thanks,
play some
man.
golf. We'll get to some shows. We'll have a good time.
All right. Keep in touch. Good to see y'all.
Later, bro.
Later.
See you, man.